Bay State College girl, the first of two in dual ominous mysteries, the strange tale of two deaths and an unsolved disappearance from the same college campus. In the early morning hours of Friday, 13 November 1925, in Northampton, Massachusetts, a young woman named Jean M. Robeson was discovered dead in her dormitory at Smith College by asphyxiation through illuminating gas. However, shortly after Jean's untimely death, another tragedy would befall the institute. At around 8 a.m. that same morning, Alice M. Corbett exited her room in the Clark House dormitory. She may have also had $75 in cash on her person. It would mark the last time she was seen alive by anyone. After failing to return later, Alice's other friends entered her room to look for clues. They discovered an unsealed note addressed to Alice's mother and written in her handwriting. One line from the letter read as such: "Mother, I am going home." After promptly bringing it to the attention of college officials, and upon examining the letter, the officials concluded that Alice must have been in a confused state of mind, and she was subsequently reported missing. Miss Alice M. Corbett was born and raised in Utica, New York, to parents James and Emma Corbett. She had one younger brother, Edward, who died at age 7 in 1916. Although her age was not listed in the papers, the 1920 United States federal census did list her age at 14, making her about 19 years old at the time of her disappearance. Alice was stated to have been a good student in her junior year. She had a clear college record and reportedly enjoyed going on hikes in the Mount Tom area. Before her disappearance, Alice was dating a male college student from nearby Amherst College named Thomas Sterling. She stood at 5'7", was last known to weigh 112 pounds, had gray eyes, a slender build, and a medium complexion. Her hair was also very dark brown with a shingle bob style, and of the outfit she was last seen wearing, a brownish, henna-colored jersey one-piece dress with a small narrow collar, a black Windsor tie, and an open neck, a small, tight-fitting brown velour hat that had a velour piece resembling a feather on the lower right-hand side, low-heel tan leather slippers in a pump style, a small plain white gold wristwatch with a ribbon, and a yellow rain slicker. On the day that Alice went missing, the staff and students of Smith College searched for any signs of her without success. The following day, on 14 March, the Massachusetts State Police and the local Boy Scouts conducted ground searches within the Mount Tom area near Hollyoak, albeit without success either. Meanwhile, James posted a $5,001 reward for information leading to his daughter's discovery. Local radio stations also publicized her description in Springfield, Massachusetts, and Schenectady, New York. Early into the investigation, when police questioned him, Thomas stated that a week before she vanished, Alice had asked him to buy her poison, a request he refused. Police subsequently looked over several letters exchanged between the pair. Although these letters indicated that the two had recently fought, Thomas was ultimately cleared of any involvement by December. Several weeks after Alice disappeared, multiple witnesses came forward claiming to have seen Alice around. However, none of these alleged sightings was confirmed to be her. On 13 November, a woman resembling Alice approached a druggist to ask him about the local trolley schedule on the morning of her disappearance. However, the trolley crew for that day later recalled seeing no one matching Alice's description at all. At around the same time, there was another alleged sighting elsewhere. A girl wearing a yellow rain slicker was reportedly seen walking down an embankment toward the Connecticut River in Hadley, Massachusetts. Although this sighting was not reported until early December, it was linked with an earlier one in which a yellow rain slicker was seen floating in the same area of the river. A week after authorities searched the Mount Tom area, one witness came forward to say they'd seen Alice in the area, which prompted another search. Similar to before, however, the police found nothing. On 20 November, a few telephone linemen working on Whiting Peak near Mount Tom reported being held at gunpoint by a woman resembling Alice. The men said the mystery woman demanded food and ate ravenously before running off into the nearby woods, never to be identified. Throughout the areas of Massachusetts and Northampton and Westfield, several additional witnesses came forward with their alleged sightings. Same as before, however, none of these claims led investigators closer to finding her. A month after Alice's disappearance, State Police Detective Joseph V. Daly stated his belief that Alice had wandered away and had likely died by that point. With the widespread publicity the case received throughout the investigation, many false leads and hoaxes came with it. In December 1925, authorities on the case received many crank letters. In March 1926, a resident of Troy, New York, attempted twice to collect an award ignored by falsely claiming that a woman working as a housemaid at his boarding house was the missing student. A month later, in April, a middle-aged woman claiming to be Alice turned herself into police in Cheshire, Massachusetts. In May, a message in a bottle was fished out of the Connecticut River near Northampton. According to this note, Alice was being held captive in caves near Smith's Ferry in Hollyoak. Although authorities deemed the message a hoax, they nonetheless searched the area indicated, only to find nothing anyway. Throughout the spring and summer of 1926, many locations in western Massachusetts were explored for clues to Alice's whereabouts, including urban, woodlands, and waterways. In January 1927, James enlisted a boatman to comb the Connecticut River for clues. Several months later, in July, the canals at various mills in and around Northampton were scoured for signs of Alice's body or clothing while being drained for annual maintenance. In October, James publicized a $100 reward for information at the opening of the hunting season to renew efforts to find his daughter around wilderness spots. By this point, interest in Alice's case had died down until another disappearance sparked renewed attention. On Friday, 13 January 1928, Frances Smith, who came from a wealthy family, vanished from her residence on campus at Smith College, similar to Alice 3 years and 2 months earlier. Unlike Alice, however, Frances' body was eventually recovered in March 1929 from the Connecticut River near Longmeadow, though no official cause of death was reported. In 1933, a New York City man confessed to killing Alice while living in Hadley the year she went missing. However, he later recanted his confession, and following an investigation, police dismissed his confessions as false. 3 years later, in 1936, human bones were discovered in a shallow grave in Northampton. Although they were suspected of being Alice's, they were ultimately identified as those of a Native American individual. To date, what became of Alice and where she went remains unsolved.